It started with something I almost ignored. You know how sometimes your brain notices something strange, but you convince yourself it's nothing? Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. I had just moved into a quiet suburban neighborhood, the kind of place where people leave their bikes outside, where neighbors wave when they drive past, where nothing bad ever seems to happen. At least, that's what I thought. Across the street lived a guy named Mark, mid-50s, quiet, kept to himself. We weren't friends, but we had that typical neighbor relationship, small waves, quick nods, nothing more. And for the first few weeks, everything felt normal. Until one night, something caught my attention. The camera. It was around 1:30 in the morning. I woke up to grab some water. As I walked past my living room window, I noticed a faint light coming from the second floor of Mark's house. At first, I didn't care. People stay up late. But then I saw something that made me stop. Right next to his window, there was a camera, mounted on a tripod, and it was pointing directly at my house, at my window. I stood there for a few seconds, trying to make sense of it. Maybe it was a security camera. Lots of people install those. But something about the angle felt wrong, too precise, too intentional. Still, I told myself I was overthinking it, so I went back to bed. But that strange feeling stayed in my head. It happened again. 2 nights later, I woke up again, same time, 1:30 a.m. And when I walked past the window, the light was on again. The camera was still there, still pointed at my house. But this time, Mark was sitting behind it, completely still, just staring. Not typing, not watching TV, just staring straight at my house, at my window. A cold feeling ran through my stomach. The pattern. Over the next week, I started noticing something disturbing. Every night, around 1:30 a.m., the same thing happened. The light turned on, the camera pointed at my house, and Mark sat there watching, sometimes for hours. Now my brain couldn't ignore it anymore. Why would someone watch their neighbor's house every night? Was he spying? Recording something? Watching me? The more I thought about it, the more uncomfortable I felt. The night I tested it. Eventually, curiosity turned into paranoia, so one night I decided to test something. Before going to bed, I left my living room lamp on. Then I quietly stepped outside and walked around the side of my house where I could see Mark's window without being obvious. And there it was again, the camera, still aimed at my house, but this time the lens was moving, slowly, tracking something inside my house. My heart started racing because the only thing inside my living room was the lamp, which meant one thing. He had been watching my house long enough to know exactly where everything was. Now I was scared. For the first time since moving in, I didn't feel safe in my own home. That night, I barely slept. My mind kept imagining different possibilities. What if he had been recording me? What if he knew my schedule? What if he had been watching for weeks or months? Finally, I decided I needed answers. So the next evening, I walked across the street and knocked on his door. The conversation. Mark opened the door slowly. Same calm expression, same quiet voice. "Hey." I tried to sound casual. "Hey, Mark, quick question." He waited. "I noticed the camera in your window. Is that like a security thing?" For a moment, his face changed, just slightly, like he was deciding something. Then he smiled. "Yeah," he said, "just security." That was it. 2 words, no explanation, no details, just security. Something about his tone made my stomach drop.
I nodded politely and walked back home, but now I was more suspicious than ever. The footage. That night, I remembered something. Months ago, I had installed a front yard security camera. I rarely checked it, but now I opened the footage and started scrolling through the past few weeks. Cars passing, dogs walking, normal stuff. Then I noticed something strange. Every night, around 1:20 a.m., Mark walked outside his house, crossed the street, and stood in front of my yard, just staring at my house. Then he would slowly walk back, every single night. My chest tightened. Now this felt way more serious. So the next morning, I called the police. The investigation. 2 officers came that evening. They listened carefully as I explained everything. The camera, the staring, the nightly visits. They took it seriously. Soon they walked across the street and knocked on Mark's door. I watched from my window. They talked for about 10 minutes. Then one of the officers walked upstairs, probably to check the camera. A few minutes later, they came back outside, and one of the officers walked straight towards my house. He knocked, and when I opened the door, his expression was serious, but not in the way I expected. The truth. "Your neighbor isn't spying on you," he said. I blinked. "Then why is the camera pointing at my house?" The officer sighed. "Because someone else was." My heart skipped. "What do you mean?" He explained that a few weeks ago, Mark had seen a stranger walking near my backyard late at night. Not a neighbor, not someone from the street, a man wearing a hoodie. The guy would walk up to my house, look around, then disappeared. It happened again the next night, and again. That's when Mark installed the camera, not to watch me, but to catch the stranger. And the reason he stayed awake every night watching was because he was afraid the guy would try to break into my house. The twist. Then the officer showed me something, a screenshot from Mark's camera. It was taken 2 nights earlier, and in the image, there was a man standing right next to my backyard fence, looking directly at my house, watching, waiting. If Mark hadn't been recording that night, I might never have known someone was there. The next day. The next morning, I walked across the street again, but this time it felt different. When Mark opened the door, I said something simple. "Thank you." He looked confused for a second, then shrugged. Just keeping an eye on things. The lesson. Sometimes fear makes us create stories in our heads. We assume the worst about people. We turn strangers into villains. But the truth is, the person you think is watching you might actually be the one protecting you. So before judging someone's intentions, remember something simple. Not every shadow hides a threat. Sometimes it hides the person keeping you safe.